Hello. Hello, I'm joined by Ray Jones, a tenant with Torus 62. Hello, Ray. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, fine, thank you.
Ray, so in 3 words, which is tricky, 3 words, can you describe how you're feeling right now?
Lockdown, upbeat, and positive.
Positive. That's all good for a sunny day. And in general, because I'm not really familiar much with you, Ray. We've never spoken before. So can you give me a little bit of a background into your role with your landlord?
Yes, I'm a member of the Landlord's Operations Committee for Torus 62, which is the amalgamated organisation. Prior to that, I was chair of the Landlord's Operations Committee for what was then Liverpool Mutual Homes. So we meet 4 times a year, and obviously we discuss all the relevant issues to do with social housing landlord operations. Some of the legal requirements, gas, asbestos, electrical, PAP testing, antisocial behaviour, and then some of the more softer things, but equally important, such as voids, allocations, costs, and the general running of the organisation going forward.
So you're involved right across the business there, Ray, then?
Yes, very much so.
And I believe we just had a pre-chat before this call, and you talked about your kind of national role as well. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, when I stepped down from the board in November 2018, in 2019 I was selected by the National Housing Federation amongst 7 or 8 national tenants to advise the NatFed under the auspices of a tenant advisory panel on the way to proceed in getting the government's green paper and soon to be published white paper implemented, and suggestions as to what should go into that white paper.
Mm-hmm. And again, just to arrange this call, we were originally going to do it as a video chat, but you're struggling with Wi-Fi access at the moment, and the technology to support that.
Yes.
And I guess this is a bit of a struggle for your role as an involved tenant. Can you talk more about your landlord and from a national perspective, how landlords can support that tenant involvement at this time?
I would think that the best way of doing it, because of the costs involved of personally setting up a communication system through one of the channels, is that perhaps the landlords could cost this themselves and set the account up maybe in their name with me as a subheader, so we could communicate face-to-face on a more up-to-date basis.
And yeah, of course. And you've talked about your role. You've been right. You've experience of being involved and being part of driving efficiencies and shaping services right across the business. Where do you think engaged tenants can have a real impact right now? With our landlord being involved.
Well, speaking personally from a Torus point of view, we have a communication called Torus Talk, which is a closed group for social housing residents across the whole of the bailiwick. And on that, they are able to voice their concerns and opinions and suggestions. And they are fed right up to director level and are constantly acted upon and scrutinised by other tenants.
And is that carrying on at the moment during lockdown, or has it been paused?
No,
things can be figured out.
No, in fact, things have escalated on that front, as well as the Torus Talk. Certain tenants on committees, such as myself, are getting daily coronavirus updates on and political briefings sent through by Torus. So we're absolutely up to date on the government's thinking, the executive team's thinking, and the board's thinking on how things are progressing. So there are channels of communication which are transparent and open to all tenants to take part in. And now, if I may say so, Ray, that mightn't be for every housing organisation or association. Some are not quite at that level yet.
Right, I see. Yeah, there's some organisations that might not have resident involvement quite so embedded as Torus. Is that something you're meaning?
Yes, I am, because having served on and still serving on the national panel, examples of the people who are housing associations who you would call early adopters of the new NatFed rules. There are about 250 early adopters. When you think there are about 900 housing associations nationally, there's still a bit of a way to go.
Yeah. Can you give this, and to put you on the spot here, Ray, with our phone call, but do you think you could kind of say any kind of benefits for what you see and what Torus might see as an early adopter? What would be the business case for, that you would make to the landlords to take part? Yeah,
the business case is, as tenants, we will lead from the bottom upwards rather than the executive downwards. Mm-hmm. So there will be absolute need, not only a need, but it will be written into probably into the regulator of social housing law that tenant involvement will be it will be advisory, certainly in the coming years, which will enable landlords really to take on board tenants' suggestions, which, coming from the ground upwards, could save them quite a lot of money.
Yeah, and of course it's not just about the money, is it? It's just, getting there right now when resources are toe tight, and we're talking kind of, when I say resources, people at the end of the day, that it means then that those people can be deployed in the absolute most efficient way, I'm assuming.
That's right. Yeah, and as I say, going forward with this, once this crisis is over and things settle down again, and the government produces its white paper, and the regulator of social housing produces its new regulations, if you like, housing associations would be very unwise not to take notice of them, because it could affect their governance structure going forward if, for instance, they have to do an IDA, an in-depth analysis, and there is no tenant involvement. I would think that the lenders would look very, very negatively on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, of course. And you just talk to just more day to day, with how you communicate with Torus. Are you thinking kind of more longer term that this way of virtually participating and being engaged and, just communicating in general with not only just you and your landlord, but your fellow kind of tenant panel members and such? Do you think this is something that you'd like to adopt just going forward in general?
Yes, because we don't have at the moment our own closed Facebook page, for instance, for our panel members. Sorry, are you talking nationally now or on the?
Locally.
Oh, locally, no, we don't have a closed Facebook page for our panel members, but we do have email communications, if need be, that we can discuss out of committee, if you like, any problems that we need to bring forward. Right,
okay. No, it's been fantastic speaking to you, Ray, and I know just our kind of pre-chat for this recorded chat, you said that you might be up for kind of, a diary every now and then, just to kind of give an update really on how you are progressing as someone who's heavily involved across with your landlord to shape these services really, and also really interested in your kind of national expertise and experience and how that's progressing. So if that's okay with you, look out for those diary entries, Ray.
Look forward to it. Look forward to it.
Thank you so much for your time then, Ray.
Thanks, Ray. Keep well.
Okay, you too. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.